Hello, this is Brian Casey of the Imaging Wire. We are here at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference and Biotech Showcase in San Francisco. We're here with Jeffrey Sorenson. He is co-founder and CEO of Yunu, and also Gordon Harris, PhD. He is a co-founder and chief science officer at Yunu. He is also a professor of radiology at Harvard Medical School and Mass General Hospital. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having us, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
So Yunu is kind of a unique company. You're a little bit newer to the radiology market. Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about what the challenge out there is that Yunu is addressing?
Yeah, we really went looking for the biggest problem in medical imaging that we could solve, and we're very surprised that from a life sciences perspective, the sponsors are not in direct control at all times of their imaging data. And even a lot of the real-world data assets that exist today include everything but imaging. So we went looking for what is the root cause of that, which is workflow that's happening within the site, across sites, and between sites and CROs and sponsors. And we built a framework for people to collaborate, to take accurate measurements, to really focus imaging better in terms of precision medicine so that you have real-time accurate results. And we built a platform around that. The company was then founded in 2021. Through the process of discovering these issues and the solution that was needed, I reached out to Dr. Gordon Harris, who was my former customer at Mass General, and I'll let him pick it up from there.
Great. So when we're talking about sponsors, we're talking about companies like biopharma companies that might be investigating a new drug or something along those lines.
The pharma companies who are actually funding the research, the ultimate payer in the ecosystem of drug development would be the pharma companies developing those new therapies. Could be medical device, could be pharma treatments as well.
And as we all know, there's really a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources riding on these clinical trials for these drugs. And if you're investigating a drug and it turns out to be a bust, there's a lot of money that just got flushed. Dr. Harris, can you talk a little bit about the technology and the challenge and what people are facing out there?
Sure. The point where the data is collected is at the sites and where the patient interacts with the oncologists and the radiologists. And the workflow is so difficult for those sites. They're given maybe tens or hundreds of protocols from pharma companies, and they have to manage all of the imaging assessments with different criteria for every trial, and then they're supposed to get that image, anonymize it, and send it off to different CROs with different pieces of software. It's really a very confusing process, and there are no tools for sites to manage all of this workflow and complexity and get it done correctly. And in fact, we find when we go into different cancer centers about a 30% error rate when they do the imaging assessments of these. And the radiologists are frustrated, the oncologists are frustrated, the patients are not well served and they're falling off trials, and the pharma companies aren't getting their trials done accurately and correctly, and they're spending a lot of money and wasting a lot of money in this whole process. So we built a platform starting at the point of care, building up, harmonizing and standardizing across sites on trials, making it available as a cloud-hosted solution for sites, for imaging core labs, and for pharma to work collaboratively.
Great. And so what I've been reading a lot about is how imaging providers are getting involved in clinical trials, and some are even seeing that as a new business line, a place where they can make some revenue. Can you talk a little bit more in detail about the Yunu technology and maybe how it works with the clinical site?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're in, what you're describing is an imaging CRO, so a contract research organization that focuses specifically on imaging. And within that operation, you have the same problem that Gordon mentioned with sites, that you not only are trying to support many different sponsors and medical device companies, but all of the measurements required are different for each trial. So you need a platform that can do image sharing and data management, plus the workflow management, and then very specifically all of the bespoke calculations. So at the end of the day, there's a metric called response. Is the tumor responding to the medication or not? If it's not, you should take the patient off the trial. So there's a lot of math in terms of taking the right measurements, tracking the right lesions, doing the right math, and getting to the overall response, and that's different for every trial. There is no system today for imaging CROs that does that. And so they've had to piece together systems and do a lot of manual tracking. So we're a system that works for sites and works for imaging CROs for the betterment of drug discovery and precision medicine.
So you're taking all that minutia and detail and kind of grunt work off their plate so they can really kind of focus on what they do best.
As silly as it sounds, we're TurboTax for tumors. It's exactly that. Taxes are too hard to complete. You could never get it right. There's too many requirements. So imagine if you had to do taxes from 1,000 different countries at one site. You would clearly need software in order to track and manage that. The other thing is think about the people. So the people are struggling. For every 1 hour of radiologist reading time on a clinical trial we're talking about, there's 8 hours of study staff time trying to manage and get those measurements out of that team and to get them right and to do the rework and track all the changes. And that means they're not audit ready. So net for patients, if you go back to the site, then where 80% of U.S. patients get their cancer care, there's a 3% enrollment in clinical trials. It's too hard, it's done at too few places, and that's impacting everyone, including the pace of drug discovery, but also care for all of us.
So Yunu is a relatively new company. You were founded in 2021. What are you doing here at JP Morgan Biotech Showcase, and what do you got planned for 2024?
Well, this is the place to be, so we're here. We're not currently in a fundraise. We expect to be raising again towards the end of this year. So we are currently well funded. We're here meeting our next generation of investors that are interested, and also there's a lot of customers and providers that are here, so we're having a mix of customer meetings and investment meetings during these few days.
Great, and what can we look forward to in the coming year?
So I think really the next step is to look at what you can do with a platform like this. We've got some really cool innovations that we'll be talking about in the spring, literally in the next few months, but ones that allow you to see across sites and see across sponsors and see across different types of common data sets. So imagine if that real-time data where people are working became visible and became actionable. So of course there's real-world data plays, there's AI plays, there's new types of collaboration and services that can be provided across a network like this when people can truly work together. So we've built those things and we're excited to be announcing them this year.
All right, very good. Well, for Gordon Harris and Jeffrey Sorenson at Yunu, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us, Brian.
Signing off from JP Morgan and Biotech Showcase in San Francisco, my name is Brian Casey of the Imaging Wire.